Yo, thanks for tuning into my channel, Happily Married. Today I want to talk about priorities. Like, what are priorities? How to establish your priorities, and actually how to implement your priorities, right, in a relationship. And I think one of the biggest mistakes that people make is that they don't have priorities, or they don't set priorities, or if they have priorities, they don't stick to their priorities. They go off grid, go off track, and then they end up in a relationship that doesn't fit the priorities that they have set, right? So, long time ago, before I met my wife, I was in a relationship, and that relationship didn't go well. And I was talking to my mom about the situation, and she told me that I didn't have priorities. I was young, I was in my early 20s at the time, and I'm thinking to myself, yeah, I got priorities, you know what I'm saying? I know what I want in a woman. She got to look like this, body like that, whatever, right? So there really wasn't priorities, me looking back today as an older man, looking at my 20-year-old self, I didn't have priorities. But my mom gave me some advice that actually worked to my benefit. And I like to share that with y'all. So what she told me was I needed to write down what I wanted in a woman, right? And to not leave out any details, like no details. So I did that. I did a very explicit list. And during this time, I met my wife. And, I had my list together and stuff like that. But right now, I want to talk about the list, right? So, in writing a list, it actually is a goal, right? So normally they say the most successful people, or the people that obtain their goals or write down their business plan or their New Year's resolution and stuff like that. I don't know the percentage, but majority of them people that write their goals down on paper, they end up achieving that goal. So it's the same thing when you're writing down your priorities. Your priorities is a goal that you would like to achieve in a significant other, right? So it kind of made sense to me. Yeah, that's right. Write it down, right? But the flip side to it is you actually got to believe that that person exists. You know what I'm saying? It's not in your imagination. Like if you let somebody read your list, they might tell you, yo, this person don't exist, because that's what happened to me. When I wrote my list, I let a couple of brothers read it, and they was like, yo, I want a joint like that. You know what I'm saying? And but that don't exist, because it seemed like you can't find a person that meet all of your qualities or all of your expectations or all of your what you would call priorities. And I don't believe that to be true. You know what I'm saying? Because I've experienced it. So they say trust your own experiences. And in my experience, I experienced writing down a list and running into somebody that added to my list. Because there were things that I didn't know I wanted that she brought to the table that increased my priority list. So you definitely got to have a strong belief in what you want and what you prioritize. You know what I'm saying? You have to put that first. That comes before like looks and body and all of the superficial things that we normally generally start dating or getting into a relationship with people for. The first thing is the physical attraction. We all know that. But at the end of the day, that doesn't create or make a relationship last. You know what I'm saying? Because once you get past the beauty and the booty, what else is it to this relationship? And that's where a lot of relationships go to the left, is because it's nothing more than just a physical attraction. You know what I'm saying? So if you are trying to get into a long-term relationship with somebody, it has to be more than a physical attraction. Because I don't know how many men have very beautiful women, but the relationship is trash. You know what I'm saying? He don't even look at her like other people view her, because it wasn't nothing more than just her looks and her body. You know what I'm saying? Same thing with women with men. It was nothing more than, oh, he's just extremely handsome, or he was tall and yada yada, or he had a lot of money. And the relationship didn't go any further than that, because it was nothing else besides that. It's big, but it's still kind of small, because the character of that person, in my opinion, and your chemistry with that person is what helps your relationship develop and grow and stay strong. So, but you got to have priorities, right? So when I realized I didn't have priorities, and I wrote it down, and I believed that this person existed, I was able to run into that person. You know what I'm saying? It was like, boom, it just happened just like that, quicker than I expected. So if you haven't done that yet, you probably want to go ahead and get you a pen and pad and get to writing. You know what I'm saying? And the easiest way to create a list, a priority list, is to base it off your previous relationships. Well, what went wrong in those relationships, right? And what was like your uh-uhs or your no-nos or things that you didn't go for or you wouldn't go for now that you learned, you know what I'm saying, from that relationship. Because relationships, I'm not going to say all of them are super bad, but it was a reason why y'all separated and y'all not together today, right? And hopefully you learned something from that. If you learned something from it, then, you know, that should help you grow and be ready for the next relationship, right? So if you had like some things that you didn't go for or you didn't approve of or you not going to take or you not going to deal with it this time, write that down. You know what I'm saying? What I did was I didn't write down anything that I didn't want. I only wrote down what I wanted specifically. You know what I'm saying? Because I already knew what I didn't want based on the previous relationship. So it was easy for me to write down what I wanted. And I advise you to do the same. You know what I'm saying? Don't focus on what you don't want. You already know that. But use that as a guide to help you into writing what it is that you do want. And it's really that simple. And, you know, it's going to take time, you know what I'm saying? And because you're going to run into people. Just in my situation, I was blessed to meet the person. Excuse me. I was blessed to meet the person like immediately. It happened fast for me. It may not happen like that for you. You know, what you could do is have your priority list. And when you meet a person, you courting a female or you dating a man, just reference your list, because the list is a guideline, right, for what you want, because you writing this for you. This is what's going to make you happy. This is what you feel like you need or what you want in a person. And then if that person not fulfilling that list, or they're not even adding to your list, or they're not even coming up to a portion of your list, you might as well scrap that right now, because it ain't going to work. Because there's some things that you put on your list that you learned from a previous relationship that it's just not going to work, because either they don't have it or you don't see it in them. You know what I mean? So that's just my advice on that. I know it was short and sweet, but it's really that simple. You got to have priorities. You got to write them down, and you got to actually believe that this person exists. Because if you don't believe they don't exist, then guess what? They don't. You're just going to keep running into what you believe. And if you don't believe that they exist, then it's on you. That part is on you. And another thing I want to talk about is like, you got to watch your words. You got to watch what you say out your mouth and the advice that you take from people. Because I had a friend of mine one time that told me she was going to this church, and the preacher was preaching on relationships. And he came out and he said, this is in reference to like believing, like really believing what your priorities are and what you set for yourself as a goal, right? You really got to believe that you can achieve it. You really got to believe that this person exists, right? So she was going to church. I forgot what denomination it was, but church, right? And the preacher was saying, like, you know, relationships is hard. You know what I'm saying? Relationships is hard. It's difficult. It's a struggle. But he was just saying all these negative terms. And when she came to me and told me about it, I listened to her, and I was like, yeah, he got a point, but it's a flip side to that. And my perspective was that those was his words. So because he's a pastor, and I'm not going in on pastors or nothing like that. I'm just speaking specifically on you looking at the advice that people is giving you. You got to watch the advice that you absorb into your spirit and your soul, because it will have an effect on you, and it will have an effect on your outcome. So she was saying, yeah, you know, just regurgitating what he said. And I'm like, yo, it's a flip side to that. And the flip side is this. That's his words. But you repeating what he said and taking that in as your words becomes your reality, right? Because if you saying, yeah, relationships is hard, they difficult, you got to struggle through them, and it's a struggle, blah, 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 and you got this from him, this becomes your reality. And you wonder why you in certain situations or relationships where you got to struggle. It's hard to get through. You got to fight and all this other kind of crap. And that's not the way it's supposed to be. You know what I'm saying? I can vouch for that because I don't have arguments in my relationships. We have conversations. You know what I'm saying? A disagreement is not an argument. You know what I'm saying? Even if the octaves, the level of your voice rise doesn't mean it's necessarily an argument. You feel what I'm saying? But my point is, if she started believing what the advice this person was giving her, that's going to become her reality. If you believe different, like you truly believe different, that's going to become your reality, right? Because like I said, your priority list is really a goal for the type of person that you want in your life. So you got to believe it. You got to believe that to get to the goal of this person, right? If you don't, that person's never going to show up. And right now, you know what I'm saying, I think that's pretty much it that I want to discuss on that topic. But, you know, if you felt like it was something in this video that can help you, you know, so help a friend, please share it, like it, comment, subscribe, do all that good stuff. But yo, this your boy Phil signing out. On to the next one.